Today in lab we're going to be doing what's called column chromatography. And column chromatography is very similar to TLC, thin layer chromatography, that we did last week. But the benefit of column chromatography is that we can obtain our separated compounds out the end of our column. So here I've got my column. It's just a simple pasteur pipette. It's got my 1.2 grams of alumina inside of it. I've got a little piece of cotton at the very end to hold the alumina in place. And right now I'm just running a little bit of hexanes through there. I've got my mixture of compounds, so here I've got 0.3 milliliters of a solution that's got both of my compounds that I want to separate out, and we're going to be using this column to separate those two compounds out. We can collect the different compounds into our different test tubes, and then we'll be able to do further tests on them. Here I've got my column set up, and right now I've got hexanes dripping through, and as soon as you've added hexanes the first time to wet the column, you never want the top of the column to go dry. So I'm going to wait basically until this liquid level is just about to the top, right there where my alumina is. Then I'm going to add my unknown mixture, my 0.3 milliliters of the two compounds. Once I've added my mixed compound, I'm going to start collecting in test tube number 2. Again, once this liquid level gets to the level of my alumina, I will then add more hexanes. Once you finish running your column, you'll have two different samples, and you'll want to do a TLC to determine if you actually did separate out those compounds as well as we would like. The last thing you need to do is to get a melting point. Now, the melting point, we need to have a solid sample, so the easiest thing to do is just to take a little bit of your compound and put it down onto a watch glass. The solvent will evaporate, leaving behind our solid, which we can take the melting point of. So once the solvent has evaporated, I'm left with my hopefully pure solid. What I want to do is take a capillary. So these capillary tubes, they live over by the melting point instruments. And basically what I'm going to do here with this capillary is I'm going to sort of scrape up with the open end some of that compound. You can sort of tap down, but basically you're just scraping this up, getting some of it into that tube. So I have plenty of compound into my capillary tube now, and basically what I need to do is I need to get all that compound to settle in the bottom. So what I have here is just a tube, and I can drop my capillary tube into that and it will bounce. So if I do that a few times, now all of that material is in the very bottom of that capillary tube. So this is our melting point apparatus, and up here this is where we are going to load in our capillary tube, and we'll be able to view through the viewfinder there. The instructions for how to use this are right up here on the whiteboard. For cleanup, you can rinse everything with acetone and just collect it into one non-halogenated organic waste beaker, and that can all go over at one time. For your TLC development, you're going to be using dichloromethane, so that will be halogenated waste. That will be the one difference.